MLB Prospects Top 100 on MLB Pipeline has been released, and you can obviously see the guys from the draft like Dylan Cruz and Paul Skenes. So it's definitely updated, and there's a lot of new players that we're seeing on this at Top 100. So we're just going to go over them. So we obviously have familiar faces like Jackson Holliday from the Orioles. He's expected to be next year with the Orioles, so it's interesting to see where he's going to play with the Orioles just because they have so much depth on that roster. That's going to be pretty interesting. Skenes, once again, and Dylan Cruz are that 2024 spot from the current MLB draft. Ethan Stylus, he says to 2026. He's obviously that 17-year-old phenom in the minor leagues. So his story will be really interesting. He's definitely going to remind me of a Juan Soto, I think, when he gets to the league, because Juan Soto came in when he was also like 18, 19 years old. And then we also have guys like, from the previous drafts, like Jordan Lawler. He's expected to be up next year. Guys from the current draft, like Watt Lanford, he's expected to be there 2025. The person I'm most excited for, Pete Armstrong on the Cubs, he's supposed to be there up next year. So we'll see. Maybe they call him up in September. Would very be interesting to see what happens with his career with the Cubs. A lot of guys, Colton Krauser even, now he's in the MLB, but he's technically still on here, which normally they remove these guys, but sometimes they're still on here, I guess. And we're just going to kind of scroll through the rest of the prospects and a couple guys that I'll note when we scroll through this. Like Marte right here is supposed to be there. I'm surprised he didn't get called up this year, to be honest. Kerstad, once again, probably going to get called up next year. So we've seen a lot of players get added to this list. I know for the Cubs, there's at least 5 of them on here, from what I know. Other teams probably have a lot on here, like Drew Jones is obviously on here, 2026 ETA, so he's got a little bit of a long time. And I think players that I'm most excited to see are Harry Ford. Obviously, he played really well in the World Baseball Classic, so I'm excited to see how he's going to perform. And then we'll just kind of scroll right here. You might see some familiar names on this list that are MLB prospects or, about to be there. And there's a lot of good, talented guys on this team. The Orioles still have so much talent as we scroll through this on this top 100. It's kind of insane. We got guys like Chase Dolander from the draft on here for the Rockies. A couple of these guys, especially, minor league baseball is pretty important. I like watching there a lot. We got the 3 Yankees right here as well. Spencer Jones is going to be one of those top talents I think I'm most excited for. I've seen Jason Dominguez like twice before, and he's gone 0 for 8 when I've seen him. So not really the best for me. That's why I'm not too keen on why everyone's hyping him up. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I've only seen it when he hasn't done the best. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to look at a lot of these more guys in the minor leagues, especially, and see where these guys are going to land eventually. And this was also, just updated because the trade deadline and all that good stuff. So that's why we're saying, oh, this team's top prospect, they're probably on this list as well. So that's why that's pretty important. Another player I've seen, Zach Veen, I've in the Rockies organization. At the times I've seen him, he's played pretty well. So it just sucks because he had a season-ending injury. So I don't know how he's going to perform, but surprised he still actually made the top 100 list, to be honest, because the injury, he went down a lot of spots. So a lot of the new draft guys are definitely on this list, and it'd be very interesting to see, what happens with these players or if they're in the starting rosters next season. You can obviously scroll by the ETA. We can obviously do that right now and see who's supposed to be up next year, and even guys that are supposed to be up this year according to the pipeline. So, and the pipeline's pretty accurate, I would say. They update it throughout the season a lot, so it's definitely a good spot to if you guys want to do more research about your own franchises and everything like that, and see, what guys you got coming up in the pipeline, how the Reds and Orioles became like these super teams, and how they're so good every year. Like if you look at the pipeline, during at the start of this year, the Orioles had like everyone in there that's on their team now, and they still have more players, as you could see. So definitely an interesting thing to look at. That's why if you don't really have the best pipeline, you better be good now, because that's that's most of the time, these teams don't have the best pipeline, and then they kind of win, and then everyone leaves, and then they're kind of screwed. You can look at the Nationals for that situation when they won. Everyone kind of left that team, and now they're just kind of in the rebuild phase and trying to get more prospects and trying to rebuild up back to a winning franchise. So, a lot of teams do it through buying free agents, so that's definitely a key possibility. But let's be honest, it's so much cheaper, especially for these small market teams, to just build through the draft and the pipeline. So you can obviously see the ETAs right here as we're scrolling through, and some of these guys are supposed to get called up next year. It'll be very, very interesting to see what the actual ETAs on this, and most of these are probably right. If I had to give my opinions on them. As we head to the end of the season, some of these guys might get called up for the September call-ups. Who really knows? They always expand the rosters once the minor league season is over, so you can have a chance to see some of these guys. Maybe they don't play as much because the team's winning, or something like that. But some of the best teams, like the teams that are locked in, like the Braves, will probably let their younger guys play. you know, before they actually have to submit their playoff rosters. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.